This meeting is being recorded.
Okay. Tonight is Wednesday night. It is 11 minutes past 7 and it is time for Keto Confab, and I'm your host, Elizabeth Hanson, along with my husband, Scott, who doesn't have his camera on. And we are here to support people who are trying to live the keto lifestyle, and especially according to the teachings of Dr. Annette Bosworth. We do discuss other doctors and their research and their ideas and videos and things here, but we all know Dr. Boz and Dr. Boz's ideas. So this week, for us, we got to go to a party for the Arts Council here. My husband is very artistic, as is a couple of our daughters. And so they like to paint and draw. I am not very artistic. I'm crafty, but I'm not really artistic. I can sew, I can knit, I can crochet, I can do embroidery. I know it looks nice, but I don't draw. Stick people, you know.
Well, you're artistic because you're musical.
Well, yes, I'm also musical, but I don't really fit into what the Art Council here does, but I don't
Visual
mind
arts,
supporting it. Yeah, the visual arts. I don't mind supporting them, but we went to a party last night and we did really well. I took a keto-friendly casserole plus a cucumber salad and some fresh tomatoes.
We enjoyed the culinary arts.
Yes, I enjoy the culinary arts, especially eating. Um, and there were a lot of potatoes there. And then a 3-bean salad that also had beets and hominy in it. And so none of that was keto friendly. But they had, what kind of meat was that, Scott?
Oh, the meat was prime rib.
Oh, prime rib.
Yep.
Yeah, they had prime rib. And so Scott and our youngest daughter, Hannah, had the prime rib. I didn't eat any rib because, well, me and beef don't get along. So I stuck mainly with the cucumbers, the tomatoes, and the casserole I made. I did have a little bit of the potato salad, which was delicious. I didn't go for the bean salad because bean salad has never been anything I'd like, and it's definitely not worth the carbs. They had a punch and wines and other alcoholic beverages there. We didn't go for those either. And some of the ladies we were sitting with talked to us about keto, and we were telling them about it and how we got into it, how we found Dr. Boz's book and her videos and everything. And one of the women said, wow, yeah, maybe I should do that. But I have one question. And she says, can you have alcohol? And I'm like, well, you can, but you really shouldn't. And she's like, well, I'm out. She was not interested from that point. So that's part of our week. Then the other part, I shared with you this guy's video 2 weeks ago, and I talked about his book, Dr. Ovadia, and it's Stay Off My Operating Table. He's a thoracic heart surgeon. And I got the book, the actual hardcover book, and his very first, actually his second chapter is all about 12 myths they want us to believe. And I think this is a very valuable chapter because he talks about even cardiologists, endocrinologists, everybody believe these myths. And if you can understand that these myths are bunk, then, and then be able to relate that to your doctor, you're going to get better care, or you're going to, be able to do better. So I'm not going to read all of them, but the first myth is only obese people are metabolically unhealthy. And that's a myth. That is not true. Even skinny people like Scott can be metabolically unhealthy. And then myth number 2, the food pyramid is good for you. Can we all laugh about that one? Ha ha ha, food pyramid, ha ha. And then the third myth is the food pyramid is based on good science. Not exactly. And the fourth myth is people who produce our food want us to be healthy. The fifth myth, low carb diets are bad for your heart. Nope. Sixth myth, high cholesterol causes heart disease. Seventh myth, medications are the best treatment for medical issues. No. Diets work if you follow them. Well, not all diets work because some of them are crap. Trying to lose weight by restricting calories always works. The best way to burn calories is exercise. No. You can't improve metabolic health conditions without medication, which is not true. And then health problems come with age. And that's not true either. And he goes into an explanation as to why they are not true. And it's a rather short explanation so that, you know, if you were going to your doctor and going to have a visit and you knew you were going to have some sort of tussle with them, you know, if you read through the myths and you kind of memorized, you know, the reasons, you know, just put it in your brain, you'd be able to get through that conversation without much trouble. So that's a very worthwhile chapter. And then in the next chapter, he explains what the markers for good metabolic health are, which is very good. And so just wanted to mention that book and some of the things it has in it because very valuable. Now, during the week, Tammy messaged me privately, and she suggested that we have a topic this week, and that topic would be about her cruise. She's never been on one before, and she's somewhat concerned about food and having a food coma. I'd be concerned too because I am easily tempted by food. I'm actually very proud of how well I did at the party. I sat as far away from the food as possible. They had fresh buns out of the oven and the smell of them were heaven, but I didn't touch them. I wanted to, thought about it, but didn't. So I understand Tammy's concerns. She says that her sister says there are sugar-free drinks and desserts available, but there really are not any keto foods on the cruise. And I got to scroll up, got to find the right mouse. So she's going to be eating other foods. So, you know, I guess my only suggestion would be don't go to every meal that's available. Yeah. Hi, Tammy.
Yeah, I've been listening, but I was driving, so I'm home now.
Oh, okay. So my only suggestions to Tammy were to not go alone, number one. Not just go 2 people at a time, because if the other person is eating and you're not, there's a lot of pressure on you to eat. But she says she's going to be in a group of 9 people. And that's good because all them other people can, you know, oh, you've got to try the chicken and you got to do this with each other. They don't have to talk to you about it. So I guess what I would have to do is stick with the veggies and the meat. Just anything veggie and meat, okay. Anything bready, run. And sit a long distance away from the buffet. Don't be right there next to it because, oh, that drive you crazy. And once you've had your fill of regular food, leave before you start thinking about them desserts. You know, I just think you're going to have to be kind of antisocial at meals. You know, you can be social other times doing whatever else you guys will be doing, but you know, it's just save yourself, Tammy, save yourself, you know, because, you know, getting horribly constipated on a trip or really sick or totally stupefied in the brain in a food coma is going to be a problem.
Well, most of my meals will be with my husband, 2 sisters, and my mom.
Okay.
I know 2 of our meals will be with the 9 people. But you know, my family who I'm going to be with most of the time. And that was our dinners. We didn't really plan any other foods. They have a garden something, you know, which is a buffet. And I think a garden buffet has to be a salads.
Okay.
So that might be my spot. And I don't eat breakfast, although that place also does breakfast. So my husband is a big breakfast eater, but I can do breakfast because I can do sausage, bacon, and eggs.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if you know who Amy Berger is, but I am on with her stuff. And I had written her an email for whatever reason on another subject. And I did ask her if she would talk about cruises in our Zoom call next week too, because, you know, I have a couple of things to keep me motivated. And so she wrote that she'd been on a couple cruises and they were very keto friendly.
Oh, well, good. That's good to hear.
And but they are keto friendly, and I believe that you can eat keto friendly. That's not the problem. The problem is the temptation of the foods and the desserts and the drinks and all the other stuff. That you can make good choices, but it's the other things, you know. So we'll see how it goes. I won't be here probably for the next 2 weeks because I'll be on my trip.
Yeah. I'm not really tempted by drinks and stuff at all. Okay, the one drink I could be tempted with is hot chocolate. But ever since I found out 8 ounces of hot chocolate is 55 carbs, I'm not so enticed. I mean, 55 carbs, that's 2.5 days worth of carbs.
I make my own hot chocolate and I'm happy with it.
What do you make it with?
Oh, I haven't made it in a while. Let me say, I start with, and I probably use the almond vanilla milk, you know, unsweetened almond vanilla milk. I start with that and I put cocoa, you know, Hershey's cocoa, whatever, you know, not sweetened, just cocoa. And then I can't remember, I know I put a sweetener. So whatever your sweetener of choice is that you can tolerate. And maybe a little bit of whipping cream in it to make it a little thicker. And I can't remember, I have a recipe someplace with all this stuff in it. And so I just make that and I just do it in the microwave and make your proportions to taste what you like. And if I find that recipe that I use as a guideline, I'll give it to you.
Oh, okay, thanks.
But yeah, so I just make my own when I feel the need. And so I like peppermint extra. I put peppermint extract in it because I like that. Or sometimes you might put cinnamon in it, you know, whatever you like to taste. I used to put peppermint schnapps in my hot chocolate, but I don't do that anymore. And I'm not really a drinker. I don't drink, but we have the drink package on the cruise. So I'm sure some of the people I'm with will be having plenty of drinks in the free drink package.
Have you ever tried the hot chocolate unsweetened?
No.
You know, it seems like, I mean, if you have chocolate in there and peppermint and, you know, and if you've got whipped cream in there, you know, it might taste good unsweetened. And I think, and another possibility might be to make it with heavy whipping cream, possibly. Get some heavy whipping cream and add some chocolate and, you know, maybe.
Well, I do put heavy whipping cream in it, but really is the almond milk is the base, you know, because that's more watery.
Yeah.
I couldn't use all whipping cream.
Yeah.
And
Well, that's a springboard from which I can figure it out for myself. I
Yeah.
love the peppermint, you know, and I love a good chocolate peppermint, that yum. So yeah.
All right, anybody else have ideas on a cruise? Have anybody else been on a cruise?
I've been on some cruises, and I think I talked to you before about, I don't like it when they all go down. After you get out of the 3-mile limit, they all go down to the gambling hall. And the sun is shining and nobody's up on top. Everyone's down in the gambling hall. And I've never liked gambling. But anyway, that's one thing you could do is keep yourself occupied with exercise and other things besides eating. I wanted to tell you, though, that I know you said recently that you had gained some weight, but from my point of view, you're not really that much overweight. You look like you're pretty close to your goals. So, hey, you're spending a lot of money on this trip. Enjoy it. You're with your family. Enjoy your trip.
Well, I will enjoy the trip, but I don't have
Talk with
to
them.
eat. I don't have to eat everything I see.
The thing is, I feel the most important thing is to stay away from seed oils and white carbs as much as you can. And then if you can get, we recently went to Baltimore and we stayed at the Residence Inn, and I was always excited because they had scrambled eggs and as many sausage or bacon as you wanted. Well, this particular place didn't have that because it's right across the street from Johns Hopkins, I think. And so it's all doctors and nurses staying at the hotel. And they had this stupid pre-packaged croissants and egg McMuffin things. So I would go there and I would get, like 3 croissants and 3 hard-boiled eggs, and I'd tear all the bread away. Spent the whole, 10 minutes cleaning up the food so I could eat it. But if you can somehow stay away from, unnecessary, croissants, muffins, whatever. And the afternoon, they have an afternoon, I think that garden thing that they're talking to you is going to have a lot of desserts because they like to do afternoon desserts. And, hey, let's go down and have a cup of coffee and a couple of pieces of cheesecake or whatever it is, And that sounds like maybe if you could, I don't know if you like coffee, but, just sit there and drink the tea and the coffee and let the people pig out and do whatever. But the important thing is, I feel like, this is an opportunity to be with your family and, try to just drink the water and stay focused on other stuff. I know that doesn't sound very interesting. And don't beat yourself up. Don't beat yourself up if you have one or the other.
Even if you do end up, quote unquote, falling off the wagon and eating stuff you're not supposed to, Tammy, the good thing for you is that you have the ability to get back where you need to be, I think, fairly easily because you have been doing this longer. And I agree with Patricia. I know you say you have weight loss goals, but girl, I'm telling you, you look fantastic. So I don't see where you're packing your pounds. I can tell you,
I could show you, but
it looks great.
I would tell you, but you got a video going. So I'm before they do the video, I'll tell you, but well, I don't mind telling you, I'm 5'6" and 170 pounds. I was 160 pounds, and I would like to be less because it's all that. But when I weigh 230, this would be the perfect goal,
Oh, another thing, since you are up there off the coast of Massachusetts, there's a real good chance you're going to be offered lobster and a lot of fish on the
Oh,
tables. And if
oh,
you
that's
like
good.
fish, I would pile up. I would like, you can get like, 50 shrimp.
Mhm.
As long as it's not breaded, because they always like to bread it so that you don't need as much.
Yeah, but there's probably going to be some steamed shrimp there,
Yeah.
and just put lemon on it. And, oh my gosh.
Yeah, seafood's a great idea. As long as you don't have an allergy and as long as it's not breaded. So many restaurants want to bread all the seafood. It's really annoying.
Now,
Um,
keep in mind though, I found this out, Elizabeth, that if you eat too much in the way of like shrimp or other seafoods that are high in like the iodine and everything, sometimes it can make you sick.
Okay,
So
well,
don't go completely crazy with it because sometimes it's too much for your system,
yeah.
depending
Um,
upon where they source their seafood from.
see,
Sometimes it's higher in like minerals and stuff that we don't want.
yeah.
I can't think of what it is.
Go ahead, Tammy.
Well, we have two stops in Maine. So one is at Portland and one is at Bar Harbor. So
Bahaba.
I do have, I think I have an excursion at one of them, but I think the day we're in Portland, we can have lunch in Portland. So that might be I don't know if I'm a lobster person, but seafood, I do like a lot of seafood. So anyway, we'll see how we go and I'll report back in 2
I
weeks.
think my concern, but
3 weeks.
it's my concern going anywhere, is I have so many particularities about what I can tolerate, what I can't, and what I react to. I swell up with wheat. I get short of breath with beef. I get pukey with chicken. I but I've known this since I was 48, so it's been 14 years. And so I know to avoid those things. So I get trapped by the sweets, but even with the sweets, ever since I've been keto, if I eat too many sweets, even sugar-free sweets, I'll get me some diarrhea. And that certainly isn't fun on a cruise or when you're going on day excursions into some place you've never been, that can be inconvenient. So, somebody's saying if you stop at Bar Harbor, there's a place called Red Seafood. If that's what they say you can have, it's family owned. Oh, Bar Harbor. I've never been to Bar Harbor. I've heard of it.
Bar Harbor is beautiful. It's right there near Arcadia National Park. It's beautiful.
Oh,
What was I going to say? Anyway, I think you're going to have a great time. I just hope it's not rainy.
yeah.
Hope it's not rainy. But just put your raincoat on and go and stand out on the water and imagine you're a ship captain coming across with a person.
Well, I don't mind going to the casino, but I'm not going to go to the casino for hours on end, and I'm not going to go to the casino every day. I might go to the casino 2 times for an hour each, the whole time I'm there.
Does every cruise ship have a casino?
Well, I'm sure they make money there.
That's big money. And especially if they go, it sounds like you're staying pretty close to the coast, but they probably will go beyond the 3-mile limit so that they can take advantage of that feature.
Now, see, that would never. Go ahead, Tammy.
I know there's a casino on the boat because you got your list of all your things to do, and there is a casino. Yes.
Boy, that would never entice me on a boat.
It doesn't entice me to be. It doesn't. I could have a casino or not have a casino. It wouldn't matter to me. But if it has one, I'm going to go.
Yeah, I went once to Las Vegas for a conference, and it was one of my least favorite things walking through the casinos to and from rooms and stuff. It was I don't like it. I didn't like the noise. I didn't like all the flashing lights, and the people, they all looked exhausted. And there was smoking. I didn't like the smoking either, and all the drinking. Ugh, the smell of spilt alcohol and stuff. Ugh, not my thing. So, but yeah, a lot of people find it fun, and I have friends that like take $20 and they go and they make their bets, and once they're out of the $20 they leave. And if you can do that, that's great.
My husband and I will do that.
Yeah.
You can take, I don't mind spending $20 or $40 going to the casino at night, because if you went to a movie and bought popcorn and stuff, you're going to spend that much. If you go to a show, you're going to spend that much. You have to look at going to the casino as it's my entertainment for the night. And if I'm not I would spend this too much no matter what I was doing. So, and then when it's over, your money's over. And so we might take $20 or $30 each, and then that'll be it. But when I went to Las Vegas, I left with about $400 more than what I came with. So I was happy.
Oh, wow. Well, okay, everybody, you want to go to Vegas? Take Tammy with you. She's good luck.
I seem to do not too bad in Vegas. Because I wouldn't have lost $400, of course. I only maybe would have lost 50 for the whole weekend when I was there, but I did, and I made $400.
Ooh.
Last night, Dr. Boz had her live again on YouTube, and she needs to get rid of a lot of her BHB Max combo with strawberry lemonade or whatever. And one of the things she said is it's an appetite suppressant.
Oh.
I didn't realize it has some so if you have any BHB powder, take it with you.
I do have some, but I bought raspberry because that's all they had. And I don't really like raspberry, but I'm never, so that part of it, I'm not hungry anyway. So I'm not eating because I'm hungry. I'm eating because I'm looking at something and it looks good. I'm eating because it's 5:30 in my family. We have dinner reservations at 5:30 every night, and I may have eaten lunch already at whatever, so it's just going to be too much food, because that's what you do when you're with the family. You go to dinner and food together. I'm not going to do breakfast, but I will probably do lunch and dinner with everybody. So just have to be careful what you eat and make wise choices.
Yeah. You mentioned a food coma. For you, Tammy, what is a food coma? How do you react with a food coma? Like what are your symptoms?
Well, I'm just get so full that like you ate too much and then you just need to take a nap.
Oh, so yeah, I call mine a food hangover. Usually if I've eaten things I shouldn't, the next day I feel like a slug and I can't think, and I'm puffy and I'm tired and everything. A nap doesn't cure it. It usually takes 24 hours for me to get over my food hangover and stuff. But if you just have to go take a nap, oh, that's not so bad. But yeah. But of course, I mean, if you're going places, you don't want to have to stop and take a nap. Hey, Melody says, stay away from Amato's. It's the best Italian sandwiches ever. Well, I wonder if you could just eat the stuffing and leave the bread, I think it would still be delicious, just the stuffing, don't you? Anybody else been on a cruise and have any ideas for Tammy?
I wish.
Yeah. Yeah. I went on a sea voyage once, but it wasn't a cruise. I was just going from Spain to Gibraltar and then to North Africa. But we weren't there for entertainment or food. In fact, a lot of the people on there were very glad there wasn't any food. It didn't bother me, but it was a cloudy day and the Straits of Gibraltar were churning, and someone could become pretty seasick. So yeah,
I think I did that 45 years ago.
Oh, yeah. 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 We went into Cadiz and then to Casablanca, and I rode a camel and that was fun, frightening, but fun.
Yeah.
And then there were men in Casablanca that were asking the guy I was with how many camels he would take for me and the other blonde that was with him. And we're like, you better not be selling us. And he's like, well, if the offer is right. And I'm like, well, I'm telling you right now, you cannot take those goats back on the boat. So anyway, it was fun. So everybody have a good week this week. Patricia, are you back playing piano? Sorry. No, not yet. Yet. Yeah, Renee, sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I've been kind of getting hooked on these. It's called the Keto Twins. They have YouTube videos and they are so much fun. They are a set of twins who both went on the keto diet together. And
it's two women?
Yes.
And they've got dark hair?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
And the fun thing is they try out a lot of the keto recipes that are out there.
Mhm.
And some of them they'll go, you really don't want to eat this. They'll tell you flat out, this tastes terrible. And they do it live. So when they're trying it, they haven't already tried it. They are trying it live on the cameras. And so it's kind of fun because every once in a while, like I said, they'll get something and they'll go, oh, okay. I mean, it was okay, but I wouldn't eat this all the time.
Mhm.
One of the ones that they made recently that was a favorite recipe that my mom used to make all the time was au gratin potatoes. And of course, you can't have potatoes. And they used, I forgot what kind of radishes, but they're the big, long white radishes that are huge.
Parsnips?
Yes.
Daikon.
Daikons, that's it.
Daikon. Mhm.
And they said, now, the longer you boil them, the more it takes the bitter radish kind of flavor out of it. And they said, so the longer you cook those and then take your water off, cook them again. It said it takes that out. And they said, by the time they got done, they said, this tastes exactly like I'm having a potato.
Mm.
And so, and I watched the whole thing. It was really kind of cool, but I was like, oh, I might be able to have au gratin potatoes again.
Hey, do you remember how many carbs was in a serving of au gratin potatoes?
The real au gratin potatoes?
No, I mean in the daikon one.
Today we're going to be testing out viral candy bar recipes.
I think it was 4 carbs.
Okay. Because that'd be good because potatoes are packed.
Look up their video and just look up au gratin potatoes and then Keto Twins and it'll come up.
Okay.
I stumbled onto them because I have this, I guess, our lovely algorithm. If you type in the word keto ever, it now pops up everything that has to do with keto. Mm-hmm. And they popped up on my screen. And so I've kind of gotten hooked into watching a lot of their videos lately. And I've just it's been nice to see some of the different things that they are trying that I've kind of wanted to try. And one of the things they said too was they said we're trying recipes that don't have all these weird, 5,000 weird items you never have in your kitchen.
Right. Yeah.
So, yeah. And so a lot of the stuff they do is with stuff that if you don't, you probably should keep in your kitchen at all times. And so it was kind of nice to see some of the different things that they made. And so I was like, might have to try this one, might have to try that one, might have to try that one. So
well,
other videos.
When your church has a covered dish supper or something, you want to take something,
Exactly.
like everyone else would like. And if that recipe works, I mean, you could have your daikon and your cheeses and cream, and you could add some ham to it, and it'd be a perfect thing to take to a covered dish supper. Now, the casserole I took yesterday, had cheese, cauliflower, spinach, more cheese, some cottage cheese in it, and it works out to about 5 carbs per serving.
And butter in
And
it as well.
oh yeah, butter.
Yep.
And so it's nice and fatty, and it's very filling. And it's vegetarian because a lot of the people at our church are vegetarian. And so I typically choose to make vegetarian dishes to take. And, you know, it's gluten free, of course. And the people didn't know what it was. It was just something with cheese on it. And they all took a spoonful and they were like, man, this casserole is good. Who made that? And I'm like, well, that would be me. um, you know, and that's the kind of thing you want to do is, you know, you want to find something that you can share at these dinners or picnics and stuff that everybody will like. And then after they eat it and they've already told you how much they like it and stuff, then you tell them, well, that's keto friendly, you know, and they're like, really? So, I mean, I could eat this on keto? Yeah. Well, I could do keto if I could eat that, you know.
Yeah.
But then you start reminding them that you have to give up potatoes and, of course, wine, and that's where the stickiness starts. You know.
What we've got coming up soon that I'm trying to find some recipes for is we're going to have a Mexican dinner. And there's very little in the Mexican world that is not high carb. I mean,
well, the beans and the rice.
Although one of the things the Keto Twins had that I have not seen at my store was it was a keto friendly tortilla. Looks like a flour tortilla, but it was not made with like regular flour.
My Kroger's used to have them. They were made with Parmesan cheese, and it held its shape. You put it in the microwave, and you microwave it, and then it held its shape, and it didn't melt when you put hot stuff in it. They don't have it anymore.
Yeah.
Oh.
They have cheddar ones, but I don't like the cheddar ones because they don't really hold its shape, and they melt when you put hot stuff on them. But that Parmesan cheese one, that was really good, and it was white. And I'm really sad that I can't find it now.
Yeah,
Melanie says she found those egg crepes, but they didn't work so well for me.
Yeah,
The egg crepes might work better for dessert type things, but not for chicken.
Broccoli bread.
What were you saying?
You can make a burrito bowl, you know, without chips.
That's what I have at Mexican. I just get the chicken fajitas, or I'm gonna get steak fajitas with no beans and no rice, and no
ground
tortillas.
beef and the queso cheese and the scallions and what else you put in there?
Whatever you want. Pico, tomatoes.
Yeah, sour cream, all that stuff. So,
guacamole.
yeah, guacamole.
Cheese. And my Mexican place has a salad bar that you can go up. So I get the fajitas with, you know, nothing on, just the steak and stuff. And then I make a salad and dump it all on top, and it's like a salad.
Yeah.
So I'm happy at the
Mexican. Is something I'm trying to figure out.
Well, you know, they have those taco salads, you know, or 7-layer salads. You could just figure out how to modify, you know, a taco salad to be, you know, keto friendly. I mean, my daughter Hannah and I, we've gone to one of the local restaurants here and gotten taco salads. You know, they come in those shells, but they look at you real funny when you tell them leave the shell off. And it's, you know, flavored meat and tomatoes and lettuce and cheese and olives and green peppers and onions. And
but they also tend to put refried beans in them and rice in the ones I go to.
But Renee, you're making it.
Well,
you're making this to share. So you can make a layer of beef and then a layer of, I don't know, cheese, and then all your veggies and some sour cream and some more cheese, and then everybody scoop it out. Forget the refried beans, you know. No shell, no refried beans, but taco salad.
There
Yum.
you go.
And easy to share. I've seen some people make those taco salads in a glass dish so you can see each layer. It looks real pretty, and then they put like jalapenos on the top, and little dollops of sour cream and everything. It looks really pretty. But yeah, I think you could do a covered dish that could be shared and stuff. Of course, I've seen those kind of dishes at parties or church stuff where you've got some chips and you get it and then they eat it with chips, but you can just leave the chips off.
I thought about making again, going back to Keto Twins, they had a recipe for jalapeno poppers that was made with cream cheese and some other stuff. And I thought that might be able to take that because they said, oh, and it's wrapped with bacon.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
And I thought, and I said, the only problem is that I hate jalapenos. And I mean, I'm saying this, there's no one in the room. I'm talking to my TV, so I'm insane, right? And right about the time she said that. Now, if you're not a big fan of jalapenos or they're too hot or your palate can't do that, the longer you cook these, the less bitey they are. And I'm like going, oh my gosh. So I'm like,
hey,
might have to try it.
I just had an idea. What if you left the peppers, just ditch them and get some of those small, long little tomatoes? You hollow them out and put the cream cheese inside, wrap them in the bacon, and you bake them. It'd be stuffed tomato bacon rolls or whatever you want to call them. Yum.
Or even the little baby bell peppers.
Yeah, the little baby bells. Yeah. You don't have to go spicy. I mean, I'm not a lover of spicy. Scott likes spicy more than I do.
My pastor's wife loves spicy, so that's kind of what I was thinking about for her.
Yeah, the jalapeno popper is wrapped in bacon rather than, having a breading. It's a great idea.
Yeah.
It's a great idea. Anyway, so anything up? I want to know more about this broccoli bread. How do you make broccoli into bread? I mean, more than a year ago, I would have been saying, how do you make cauliflower into a pizza crust? But now I understand how to do that. But how do you make broccoli into bread? And I don't know, broccoli bread. Nope, not seeing it. So how's everybody else been? Scott, do you have any comments on our little party we went to and talking to people about keto? Maybe he's away from his computer and did not hear me.
Can I tell a little bit about the brains course?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
This week was about alcohol. And, it's pretty serious. And she went into all the repercussions for teenagers doing alcohol and adults doing overdoing it on alcohol and all the repercussions. So she finally, Dr. Boz did her thing. And then the leader said, well, does anyone have any questions? I said, well, wait a minute. Dr. Boz never talked about any kind of occasional drinking. And we really haven't done the marijuana part. But she says, well, no, Dr. Boz, because she was designing the course for those Indians up in South Dakota and for people in the juvenile jails, she wasn't really talking about occasional or social drinking at all. So, I really felt like that was a big hole in the presentation because, I don't feel like I did drink wine a lot, but not like she was describing. And I don't drink wine anymore, but I felt like the course is just overloaded with extremes, people doing extreme drug and alcohol use, and it doesn't really address how to deal with,
A regular
a
run-of-the-mill
friend or
person.
family member that maybe is having too many happy weekends, and you want to talk to them about the dangers of it. And, I don't really believe that all that brain damage that she was showing happens to people that are just having a few glasses of wine on the weekend. I don't know. It's hard for me to believe that. So, and then I had that question. Then one of the other participants said, well, she just talked about all the problems and everything, but she didn't explain about what we can do to fix it. How can you, they said, you can reverse it, but she didn't explain how to reverse some of the damage that had been done. And so I'm unless there's more coming in the course, I'm afraid she's skipping over some of this stuff a little bit too fast.
I think that's a valid criticism, Patricia. When we went through the course, I saw that there was all this, the severe side of the coin. The only thing is I didn't put 2 and 2 together like you have, because I had just finished watching all of Dr. Boz's discussions about alcohol and drinking alcohol while on keto and stuff. And so I knew that stuff. So I didn't see the hole that you're describing, because I had read her other things. And, since that time, since I took the brains course, I've watched a number of other doctors discussing alcohol and its effects on the brains. And actually, last night when we were at this party, the lady who said, if I can't drink alcohol, I'm out. I told her the thing is just even 1 or 2 glasses of wine a day causes your brain to swell. And it can take up to 6 months for that inflammation to be gone once you are totally dry. But as soon as you drink another glass of wine, the swelling and inflammation is back. And she's like, oh, well, I might as well just keep drinking because I've drank all my life and I'm over 60 and everything. And I'm like, wow, I wouldn't think that myself. I would be like, boy, I better stop now before my brain gets ruined. And I think as far as how to heal it, I think Dr. Boz's stance is abstinence and the keto diet and let the ketones heal the brain is her idea about it, of how it's going to heal. And maybe she doesn't emphasize that enough, that the only way to heal a brain that's been damaged by alcohol is complete abstinence and adherence to a strict keto diet so that the ketones can heal the brain. Wilma, you took the brains course. Do you have an opinion on this? Do you remember something I don't remember? And you just attended a brains class, didn't you? She had that one live one.
I went to Pella for that class.
Okay.
She did have the one DEXA or the one SPECT scan of a 17-year-old that they had just done before they had an ounce of alcohol and how it changed the brain. And I'm with Elizabeth. I've read somewhere that for every your drinks you have, it does swell your brain for at least 3 days, if not longer.
Mm-hmm.
And so you do have that inflammation
Mm-hmm.
in your brain.
Yeah. Oh, I remember the scan. So, that kind of speaks to it. If they took a scan of a teenager's brain before they had an ounce of alcohol and after they had an ounce of alcohol, that's 1 ounce. That's one time, so that's occasional use right there. But maybe it should be emphasized more, but I think, like she said, she made this class for the juvenile persons and the people on the reservation. And unfortunately, nowadays, juveniles are a lot of times binge drinkers, which is much more dangerous than your person who drinks a glass of wine every day. And your occasional drinks, one drink, one beer, whatever. Yes, I think it was 3 days, Wilma. I think you're right. I think it was 3 days for all of the inflammation just from one drink to go down. But the chronic people that drink every day, even just wine, they're not alcoholics, they just have a wine with dinner. It takes up to 6 months for it to go away. So I see what you're saying, Patricia. I don't think I triggered to that because I had been watching all this other stuff with Dr. Boz recently. And maybe you're right, that should be more emphasized.
You're already a teetotaler, so you really,
Yeah, see,
if you're talking to people that are just occasional overusers, abusers, you can't tell them, okay, total abstinence, you're gonna get inflamed, you're gonna ruin your life. You can't do that. You can't do that. They'll say,
Well,
okay, Patricia, can you go in the other room now? We don't want to talk to you anymore. You got to keep somewhere on a realistic level, because people are gonna just shut you down altogether.
and maybe that's
what
why
my goal
Dr.
is to be able to talk to people and maybe reduce the problem a little bit. You might not be able to completely eradicate it, but let's reduce it. And I just felt like the course was just all or nothing, and it's not practical.
Wilma, you have something?
Dr. Boz talks about having a glass of wine every once in a while when she's out with friends or her family or something. So she does have it once in a while. But she knows it's going to take a while to get back into her program, her chemistry after it.
Yeah, and that's the other thing, is that it's not immediate comeback, but if you are on the keto pathway, you can recover. And that's true. But you just can't tell everybody, okay, you got to drop this altogether or else you are going down the pit of hell. You can't do that. Can't do that.
Yeah. And Patricia, you did have a good view. I am a teetotaler. I have never been a drinker.
Which is a great thing.
I can probably count on one hand the number of times I've had a sip of wine. I've never liked it, never wanted it. So staying away from it is easy for me. But what I said to the ladies last night was, when it comes to you're going to have health or you're not going to have health, it should be an easy choice. But Melody has mentioned that alcoholics have a mentality that it's really difficult for them to understand how someone can live their life without a little alcohol. To me, that's easy. And I mean,
it's the same thing with smoking and a lot of other things. I mean, someone who's a smoker and all of their whole family smokes, and everybody they know smokes and stuff. And, you talk to them about not smoking or the dangers of smoking or whatever. And, that it's hard for them to conceive of that because they are psychologically attached to that smoking. And a lot of people are psychologically attached to alcohol.
Yeah. And it's just the same thing with sugar. I mean, people are addicted to sugar and can't imagine not eating it. So whatever you're addicted to is
sugar or
is
bread
your
or
addiction.
Potatoes. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I'm addicted to sugar. I know it. I'm addicted to sugar. I have a real problem. If someone told me you cannot have sugar ever, 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 ever again. You will die. I probably would be able to give it up. My last pregnancy, I was diabetic, during my last pregnancy, and I was really good. I was afraid for my baby, and I gave up sugar. It was salads and meat and rice for me. Little did I know that rice was messing me up bad, but I stayed away from sugar because I was afraid for the baby. So I guess if I was afraid for my life, I probably would give up sugar, but boy, I really love sugar. Last night at the party, there were a bunch of desserts. I never even went over there to look at the desserts because that is dangerous for me. But of course, Hannah brought back desserts to the table. And there were some chocolate covered peanuts. I had a bite of that and gave the rest back to Hannah. Then there were some Rice Krispie treat bars. I had a bite of that and I gave the rest of it to Scott. And there was a gluten-free cobbler, blueberry peach cobbler. I ain't try that. I'm not going there. That would be hardcore. So I struggle with sugar, and I'm willing to admit it. My sugar addiction helped get me to 340 pounds and nearly ruined my liver just as much as any alcoholic ruins their liver. And I'm sure it swelled my brain too. I mean, it's a wonder I got a degree and had a profession and, have been able to do anything with the amount of sugar I was eating. And it's a struggle every day to stay away from it. I love my steak, and I love my fried eggs and scrambled eggs and egg salad, and I love bacon. But boy, you give me some gluten-free, keto-friendly cookies. Oh, I want to eat the whole package. I really do. Normally I can stop myself at 2, but I want to eat the whole thing. And I have friends that can't understand my love of sugar. They're like, ugh. I have a girlfriend who's on keto, and she has a bag of gluten-free, sugar-free chocolate chips in her cupboard. They've been there. That particular bag has been there for 1.5 years after she started keto with me. And it's only half gone because she's fine with getting 2 or 3 little chips of chocolate, putting them on her tongue, and she's good. She doesn't need anything more. Me, it's like half the bag. It's an addiction. But and it's hard. As soon as I tell people, yeah, potatoes are really high in carbs, they're like, I'm out. I like my French fries. I like my au gratin potatoes. I like my baked potatoes. I like my hash browns. I'm not doing some diet where I can't have potatoes, And I'm like, okay. But it comes down to what Dr. Boz has told all of us. What is our why? What is our why? If our why is to be free of the weight, or be free of our fatty livers, or be free of our high blood sugars, or be free of our high blood pressure, or whatever, to restore our health or something, or help our brains not go into Alzheimer's, then we would be willing to give up potatoes. Are potatoes worth going into Alzheimer's, Patricia? You lived in Germany. As far as I know, Germany eats a lot of potatoes, don't they?
Yeah. They eat a lot of sauerkraut, sauerbraten.
But are potatoes worth?
The thing of it is, if you need potatoes to go to your happy place, to have your comfort, you don't care. You don't care if you're going to have
Mhm.
Alzheimer's. You don't care
Boy.
because you need to get in your comfort place. So what you have to do, you have to have a why, but you also have to understand that after a while, if you reduce the carbs for 48 hours, the cravings will reduce.
Mhm.
And then the why helps. But first you got to get rid of those cravings.
Mhm. I mean,
And
I'm sure I was eating more than 400 carbs a day, and it sounds just outrageous to me to say that, but I'm sure I was. I mean, with all the rice I would eat and the gluten-free bread I would eat, and I'm sure, and the sugar, I'm sure it was over 400. Um, and, do I miss French fries? I don't think about them. Now when my youngest daughter has French fries, do I want one? Yeah, normally I get her to give me one of the the butts, the one of the little ones, and I eat it and I'm like, it's, you know. Um, but I think having a good why and also understanding what these sugars and carbs and alcohol are doing to your body and doing to your future. To be honest with you, if
I think
anyone
another thing we
watched,
need to remember too, though, is what is your trigger? What's your trigger that makes you want that one thing that you're trying to not eat? And then recognizing when a trigger is being presented to you, whether it's that sitting in front of your TV and watching your favorite show and you're not going to eat popcorn because it's a high carb, but watching that movie is your trigger for eating popcorn. We have to find out what is our trigger, because sometimes it's not a matter of, gosh, I really am craving some popcorn. It was, when I sit down and watch a movie, I eat popcorn. So one of the things I had to do was I had to start watching movies and not having popcorn so I could get rid of that trigger that said, by the way, you're watching a movie, go heat up some popcorn.
mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of it is habits and behaviors that we have gotten into. For me, I used to drive a lot. I drive from this city to that city to teach classes and stuff. And when I was planning to leave the house, I'd be like, what do I have for snacks? And I'd get a bag of, what are those? Grapes and some crackers, gluten-free crackers, and maybe some pistachios and, maybe a Rice Krispie treat, and so, and I'd have them on the seat next to me, and the whole trip, 2-hour trip, 3-hour trip, I'm eating my little snacks the whole time. I don't typically take snacks with me on a trip anymore. Now, we took some snacks on our very long trip to South Dakota this spring. And I have to say, we brought most of them home because I just wasn't snacky, which was like, wow, because this was the first big long trip I've been on that I haven't been all snacky all the time. So my behaviors are changing. I guess I'm teachable, which is good. But yeah, behaviors is so much. One of the ladies said, I'm a snacker. Are there things you can snack on? So Scott told them about, all sorts of nuts you can have. And I told them there are keto snacks, like cheese things, or you can just eat cheese, or if you're really feeling snacky, have a boiled egg, and they're like, oh, well, those are weird. I'm used to having a candy bar or something. And I'm like, well, change your lifestyle, So Melody is asking if anyone has used Dr. Boz's A1C test. Not sure what she's talking about.
There's some company also from South Dakota that has created some kind of a A1C snail mail test.
Oh,
You
okay.
put a couple of drops of your blood, and you have to do it early in the week because they have to process it within 3 days. So you have to put it in the mail like Monday or Tuesday, so
Oh,
they'll
okay.
get it before Friday.
Oh, okay.
And Dr. Boz got some kind of a discount on it, and she bought up hundreds of these things. And then at these conventions, she had a team doing it for free.
Oh,
Hundreds of people had their A1C tested from Dr. Boz.
cool.
But it's out of South Dakota. I don't know what the name of the company is.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I hadn't heard of it. Okay. Well, I suppose she has it on her website, and I suppose it would be easy to test. Melody, didn't you get your A1C done when you went and did that life lock or life screening thing a month or more ago? Because the testers that come around and check your carotid arteries and everything, they'll do testing, you know, they'll do your thyroid and other things. So I thought maybe you had done that. No, because I haven't had sugar issues. I didn't think it was necessary. See you next week. Okay, Patricia, good night.
Me
Yeah.
too. I gotta go.
Yeah, it's
It's
a
after
8:15. So I'm going to close the meeting. Thank you so much, Tammy. Have a wonderful trip, Tammy. We'll be
Yes,
wanting to
Tammy.
hear all about it when you come back.
Traveling
Okay.
mercies for you.
I will
Okay.
do that. I'll tell you what I did.
Okay.
Bye.
All right. Good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye.